Winchester. Hey, it looks like it's going to be another hot one today, but school's almost out, so throw on those shades, put the top down, and enjoy the ride.
Damn it! The Bloody Man is more powerful than you can even imagine.
What you drawing? Is that a picture of your girlfriend?
He kills people, entire families.
Why is he evil?
It's the Bloody Man.
Promise me you guys will always protect each other.
Everything that's going on here is your own fault.
I know, Sam. I'm so sorry.
Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television. Sorry, we're just a few moments late, but that's life. That's how things work. That's what happens when Zoom decides to do an update right at showtime. Tonight, our guest is Mr. Daniel Benedict, who, incidentally, I have spoken to before. I think we did that when you were funding your movie, Daniel. I think that's when we had you on last time.
I think so. It's been a while. It seems like it's been 100 years since.
I didn't even remember you. I just remembered when I saw the, watched the movie, but especially when the trailer, the little toys. I said, that was what he had ready for the clip. I remember showing the toys for the movie. Anyway, everybody. All right, now, we're doing something a little different tonight, everybody. Chad and Katie will be hosting the entire interview. This is so that I can have a well-trained crew behind me when I want to not show the hell up. Just whatever. But anyway, no, I've got a talented crew behind me now, and I want to put them out there in the front. So right now, you're just having to listen to me. Then I'll shut up till like the announcements, which we do have a celebrity announcement tonight, everyone. We do have a celebrity announcement. Let's see, celebrity announcement. Oh, yeah. And we have something new we're doing at Scarefest this year. This is we'll call this a feature. It's not an event, it's a feature. But we're going to tease it tonight. And then if you have not done so, please go to the fan group that is the Scarefest Paranormal Fandom Halloween Expo, whatever the hell it's called. It's way too long of a name. But the point is, it's our fan group. We need to get your opinion on a poll we're taking. We've got a new event called the Celebrity Adult Bedtime Story Party, and we want to find out if that is the way we describe it, if it's something that appeals to you. If something doesn't appeal to you, let us know, but we are considering that event. And now, Chad.
Good evening, Daniel. How are you?
I'm great, Chad. How are you?
Great. It's a pleasure to have you on. Really enjoyed the movie. So I'm looking forward to talking to you, learning a little bit more about you and the process and a little bit more about the movie. I will say that as I watched it, if you're an 80s, I won't even say 80s horror fan, if you're just a fan of the 80s, there are references throughout that is going to appeal to anybody who wants to watch this movie. Tell us a little bit about how you locked onto that genre and that time frame and kind of the origins of this movie. I believe you were the writer. I know you were the director. This is from you. So tell us how you came up with the idea.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on, first of all. And so you asked about how did I, or why did I pick the 80s first? So, like so many of us our age, that was such a magical decade in time when we were kids, and everything seemed to be like, I don't know, just cool. Like pop culture was like at its height in every facet, music and movies and TV and cartoons and comics. Everything was just like the best it's ever been, in my opinion. And so I've always kind of like been stuck in the 80s, even in high school and in the 90s and 2000s and stuff. I've never like, it's cool to be like retro now and like everything, you walk into a toy aisle at Target and like it's all like retro toys and stuff, but like I've never like gone away from it. I've always held on to it. I don't know if that's cool or pathetic. I don't know, but regardless, that's the movies of the 80s have a certain aesthetic to them, a certain tone, a certain feel, like an innocence to them almost, and it lacks a lot of the cynicism and just bleakness and like unhappiness that are in a lot of TV shows and movies today. But so that's I definitely wanted to make a movie, not necessarily, didn't have to be set in the 80s, but one that felt like it would have genuinely come out in the 80s. And how the movie came about, I found a shoebox in my parents' house, cleaning out my parents' house, or some of my stuff from my parents back years ago now. And there was a shoebox, and I kept it as a kid, and growing up, it was like my horror shoebox. So I had my, horror magazines and drawings and writings and everything related to that. I would cut out, like anytime like Nightmare on Elm Street would come out on cable or something, I'd cut it out of the TV guide, like the little listing. So I've got like a Ziploc bags full of stuff like that. So maybe I don't know. I'm surprised my parents didn't have me checked out as a kid. But anyway, I found that, and in this folder were these writings or these stories that I had written in second and third grade. They were called The Bloody Man. I made them, I like stapled them together and made these scary stories, and they were kind of based on like books that I was reading at the time. There was like a book I checked out of my elementary school library about ghosts, and I was in like horror, universal horror monsters and stuff. And anyway, the writings are terrible. I mean, like the grammatically, of course, they're nonsense, and some of or all of the story is pretty silly. But my now wife and I were reading these one night, and we were just laughing hysterically about just how terrible they were. And I was like, our next movie, it should be this. Like we should, make this into a movie. And just okay. And so that got the ball rolling. And later we started actually writing, and we wrote it together. We would take turns writing. I would stay up really late, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, write, because I'm a night owl, right? And then the next day, she would read what I wrote, edit that, then add on to it, and then that night I would, and repeat. And so over the course of about a year, we wrote it, and there's a scene in the movie where the little sister is telling a story, and it's word for word from one of my little stories. So that's
wow.
If you watch it, that's why it's so like out there. But anyway, hope that answers your
question. Fits perfectly with that scene. No, and talking about the 80s and stuff. I mean, the toy collection that is in this movie is unbelievable. Collectors will go crazy just watching that. So just kind of go back a little bit. How did you get into interest in the film industry and pursue that path?
Okay. Well, the toys, by the way, some of it was mine, but a lot of friends and people I knew kind of like let me borrow some things to like put in there. But a lot of it is my original stuff from childhood. But How did I get started in film? I've always liked, making videos and home movies and writing music and art and all the, creative stuff. So when I was 14, I made my own, homemade Friday the 13th movie with a VHS camcorder and my family and stuff. My family let me kill them. And, so I had the tape and I had to I had a VHS cover that I took off something else and I turned it inside out and painted the hockey mask on it and wrote, and so I took an action figure and made a custom of how I looked as Jason in the movie. So, I was always doing things like that. And, I've always wanted to make, commercials, and videos and movies and stuff. So, my actual day job is, I do commercials, videos for local businesses, or whoever. And, so when I got my first professional job doing that was doing car commercials, which is soul sucking, but that, that helped me, get better at, filming and editing and writing and stuff. So it's, helped me out a lot.
I will say that background in videography you're talking about really shows through in the film. The cinematography of it really brings you to the 80s, and it looks like it's a period piece at that point. You did a great job with that. But right now I'm going to toss it over to Katie and let her ask some questions.
I agree completely. Like, one of the things I first noticed, there was like a scene with the school bus, and just when it came on, I was like, that's really well done. So I love to do acting, and I had some questions. How was it like working with so many children in this?
It was actually, well, thanks for all the compliments, first of all.
Yeah.
But the children, it was actually good. I mean, everybody, there were some moments, some don't look at the camera, stop, you look at the camera. But really, I mean, we had auditions and we had a great group of everybody, and kids included. They really tried hard. They were very respectful, and nobody really acted crazy or, anything you would expect a kid to act like. They were very, very good. And in a lot of ways, it was easier to direct the kids than some of the adult cast members. So
I feel that from my own experiences on that. Like, one of the other things, the kids, I felt like, especially the young boy, the main young boy, he really, I couldn't help but watch him. And then, of course, Lisa Wilcox and Tuesday Knight are in this. What was it like working with them, especially if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan?
Yeah, the main character, Davey, he was great. He and his dad, we worked these actors and these kids to death, especially like the main family. Like, we would film all night long, so they were troopers. Tuesday and Lisa, dream come true. Obviously, Nightmare 4 being my favorite of those films, maybe even one of my favorites. Period. Yeah, they were just amazing. It was. I would say it was like surreal, but like we were so exhausted filming, every single day for like 8 weeks. It was like, I didn't have a chance to get to stop and be like, wow, this is so awesome. Look, I have Tuesday Knight and Lisa Wilcox in a movie that I'm making. But now being away from it, it's like, man, like, how did I, who am I that I get to have these awesome people in a movie that I did? And there was a scene where I got to act opposite of Lisa, so that was really cool. I was nervous that day. I mean, normally I'm not too nervous in front of a camera, but that day I was like, oh man, I better like actually do well because I'm acting opposite of a Hollywood actor. So
Which one was that? I'm having the old lady moment. I can't remember.
I was the manager at the diner. I
Oh, okay.
I had like a mustache.
Yeah, the first time you see like the bloody quarters. Was that right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize that was you until you just said that. I mean, but like
I must be a good actor then, right?
you killed it. You killed it. Well, I do know that Thea, one of our volunteers, worked with the film. What'd she do?
A little bit of everything. She helped with makeup and hair and effects. She was there a lot overnight. She helped with just helped with camera, like did audio. I mean, she didn't know what she signed up for. I think like I was like, Theo, come here. We need, can you do this
You're
too and this
here.
and this? Yeah.
Come on.
And yeah, she was absolutely awesome. We become good friends. She's a good person.
I hadn't known she was attached to it until she posted it, and I was like, well, now I'm curious what she did. So she's wonderful. I love working with her at Scarefest. What was it like having your film show? Oh gosh, my monitor went off. There we go. What was it like having your monitor?
Having my monitor go off? Hold on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I just did my taxes. My brain's fried. But what was it like? Did you have a good audience at the film festival? Were you there for it?
At Scarefest?
Yeah.
Yeah. It turned out great because we, thanks to Wes, I guess, who scheduled it that way. Our movie screened right before it was The Bloody Man, and then our Q&A, and then Nightmare 4 Q&A, and then Nightmare 4, I believe is how it was. So it was, I feel like that really helped. I don't want to give us a lot of credit, but it was full by the end of the Bloody Man. Like, it was completely packed, and had a great Q&A, a lot of great questions, and yeah.
I had to run over there for 1 minute, and that was the first time I'd ever actually went to the film festival at Scarefest, and I didn't get to watch anything, but I would read the synopsises, and I was so curious. So when Wes asked me to jump in on this, I was like, well, now I want to go to the film festival, just watch movies all weekend. I don't know if they'll still give me the shirt, but it's worth a shot. Thea just asked, what's your next film project?
Are you talking to her right now?
He's popped up on one of the comments.
Oh, tell her I said hi. I have so many ideas and so many things I want to do, and I've tried to work on getting some things started, but it's just been difficult. One idea was to have kind of like a spin-off movie of one of the stories of the Bloody Man. The older brother's telling like a story of some a group of
with the teenagers,
teens that doing the seance or whatever. Like those characters are so awesome, and those actors are so good together. They deserve their own movie. So I've been toying with that idea, and another filmmaker approached me about going together and trying to do that. So that's one thing I would love to do. So yeah, I'd love to do a lot of things. I had time with work and family, and we have 4 little ones, 4, 2, and 9 months. So it's tough.
Oh gosh.
It's tough to find time. Anybody that's listening can probably hear screaming right now downstairs. But so yeah, there's a couple of things I'm trying to work on.
I actually, the teenager scene, I was really invested in that, so I do kind of hope you follow up with that. That was really interesting. Where did you guys film this? Was this filmed locally? in Kentucky?
Yeah, most of it was filmed here or in Owensboro and the surrounding, like Philpott and Utica and Livermore and the surrounding little smaller towns. Yeah, we originally we had thought about filming it out west, but it's just like why spend the money and maybe not even be able to afford it at all, and then get all the permits, and yeah, why do that? Kentucky's great.
One of my favorite scenes was actually anything in the school building, and like I noticed that really added to that like 80s ambiance. Where did you guys find that kind of retro school?
It just by chance. There's a couple schools here. One of the high schools at that time still hadn't really been updated in a long time, so they still had like the old school chalkboards and stuff. But it was a Catholic school, so once they like read the script, they were like, even though it's not even a bad movie really, they were like, no, we can't be associated. And the same thing with several of the people that auditioned. We actually cast somebody that had a that went to that Catholic school, and the parents saw like, no, you can't be in it. It's bad. I'm like, come on, you don't know what bad is. Like you haven't seen some independent horror movies. But no, there's a college here that has a floor that like isn't used for anything, and it hasn't been updated in years, and it just all the rooms just look straight out of the whatever 70s, 80s.
That like there for me, one of the scenes that I really appreciated just kind of for acting purposes is I guess that all the kids were taking a test. They're taking their Scantron test, and there was like a timing of them setting their pencils down and like looking, and I bet that took a minute to rehearse, like of just that practicing. I that's the stuff I notice in movies. But I also wondered, like, what were some of the more difficult scenes to film?
First of all, I was surprised you could still buy Scantron tests like on Amazon. So that was one thing. The school scenes, I wouldn't say that those were difficult. I think the hardest ones to film were the scenes in the house with the family, just because there was so much of it took place there. Everybody was totally exhausted, and it was, we filmed, we would show up before the sun went down, started rolling right at when it was dark, and shot until the sun came up. So, and then a lot of times going home, sleeping for like 1 hour, and we had a day shoot the next day, waking up, going to set up, So maybe the hardest things to shoot were the scenes the morning after a late night shoot, just because of exhaustion. But you're probably asking like technical reasons. Let's see. The effects are always a bit tricky sometimes. Maybe the bloody man getting impaled, or what? I mean, I'm assuming people have seen the movie, but at this point, maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. But like there was, an impaling or a stabbing scene that was kind of took a bit of maneuvering. I think I posted a behind the scenes of that shot somewhere on Instagram. But yeah, I would say.
The Bloody Man, I found it on Tubi, and I watched it on there. So if you haven't watched it, it's on Tubi. Go watch it. It's really good. There was one of my favorite things, and I was kind of like, oh, hell yeah. Because it was like this 80s feeling, like was the decomposing body of a certain character at the end of the movie. Like it just had this super 80s vibe to it. What is that?
It was.
Are you gonna be like it's hamburger meat? Like?
I mean, there was some hamburger in there, yeah.
What?
Lisa, our effects artist, she's awesome, and she, of course, 99% of everything was all practical, just because that's how it was back then. So even if we were trying to pull something off that looked a bit cheesy or a little bit fake or whatever, like that's good. There's like there was like an arm that like moves by itself, and like so we green screened that, but like I didn't like make it perfectly good. I wanted it to be a little bit off because the green screen was always a little bit off, back in the 80s. But anyway, the melting or the decomposing that we it was kind of like an effect that we had used in a previous film. We did a Masters of the Universe fan film, and one of the characters like got melted away, kind of like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when they look into the Ark, and the face melts away. So we that originally we mimicked that effect from that, and then we kind of used that same sort of process with this effect, and sitting there filming with heat guns on this big monstrosity of 100 different things, and then speeding it up in the edit like however many 1,000 times or whatever, so it
I actually I didn't think about a heat gun for that. I don't know what I thought it was. So see, I love that kind of practical movie magic. To me, that makes it like way creepier, way scarier. I don't know. It's more, I don't know. It creeps me out more. So I like it.
Thank you. A funny side story. So our Sam, who played Michael, the big brother, he when we were done with that effect, it was on a rug in the living room, and we were out in this house in the country, and there wasn't trash pickup, so all of our trash we had to take to town all the time. And that night we were like, what are we gonna do with this, like this huge mess of like hamburger meat and blood and latex and foam and all this stuff. And he was like, I'll take it and throw it away. I think he worked. Where did he work? I think he worked at McDonald's at the time. He's like, I'll just take it to the dumpster at McDonald's. And so he rolled it up, and what did he got pulled over on the way home, and he had some other props in the back seat or something, and the cop asked him, like, I'm not telling the story funny enough, like, what have where are you coming from? And he's like, I just got done. We just got done with the last shot, or something about shooting, and he's got this bloody carpet in the back, and he's talking about shooting something. And he's like, a movie. So.
That was I did Annie Wilkes in a local production of Misery this past summer, and I would drive home dripping in blood with bloody clothes, like in my passenger seat, and that was my biggest anxiety, was getting pulled over.
Oh no!
But hopefully they would read my expression and know I was not a murder victim or murderer. So
test it. There's no DNA.
It's fake. It's corn syrup. It's spicy. But
I think we're about up to the first commercial break, so we're gonna go ahead and toss it back over the West.
Horror. Movie. Fans. For. Life. On Facebook. Find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest TV. Melinda Clark from Return of the Living Dead 3, Firefly, Spawn, and the OC Killer Tongue. I don't know what that one's about. Anyway, Melinda Clark is coming to Scarefest 2023. Now, the little thing we wanted to talk about, we're doing a project this year called Scarefest Inc. Scarefest Inc. Now, and I should have had, I thought I did, I printed it out, and now I don't have it ready. Okay, what it is, okay, we've always had tattoo artists at our convention. We're going to try to expand the concept this year a little bit. We're going to include tattoo competitions, extra promotion, and hopefully get the artist more involved with the event. A lot of our current fans are tattoo enthusiasts, and we hope to take the experience of and make it an experience for everyone more immersive. In other words, we're pumping up the little Scarefest ink aisle, the tattoo area. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with that. Adrian will be posting a official teaser on the Facebook group, and you can throw your input into that. Don't forget, everybody, we are taking entries for this year's Scarefest Horror Film Festival. Just go to scarefestweekend.com, click the film festival link, and you can enter your current film project. The Central Kentucky Mystical Market is this weekend, 11th and 12th. Clarion Hotel Conference Center, 1950 Newtown Pike, Lexington, Kentucky. Check us out this weekend. Artisans, healers, psychics, all kinds of cool stuff. If you're into little markets like that, come on by. Speaker applications are now open. If you would like to present at the Scarefest, come on by scarefestweekend.com, click the speaker link, and we will put you in the consideration for this year's convention. Okay, we're going back to you, Chad.
And for everybody out there that's interested in the tattoo part of the convention, there is an online campaign. If we get enough signatures, Wes is going to get Brandon's face life size on his back. So everybody sign up for that. Daniel, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the references you used. There are so many great 80s references for anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but a couple things, like you talked about the arm that is in there. I assume I know where that was an homage to, and probably a couple of things that it could have been an homage to. But I just think that fans who haven't seen it yet, it will really interest them to know all the references that they can pick up throughout this movie. But I assume there's a little bit of influence from Evil Dead on the arm.
Yeah, mostly Evil Dead, a little bit of Addams Family, but Evil Dead, definitely.
It's like I said, as you watch this, you'll just pick up, and I watched it a couple of times, and each time I picked up different parts. But the one I wanted to ask about, because if I'm right, it's a very obscure 80s film. The opening sequence. Was that inspired by any movies? I'm not going to throw it out there, just see if I'm right or not.
I mean, there was a lot of intentional references. There was a lot of just pouring through 80s movies and TV shows just to kind of get subconscious influences too. But not necessarily. Not necessarily that. Not specifically that opening sequence. What were you thinking? I'm just curious.
It's an obscure 80s movie that I may be the only one that's seen, but Rad.
Rad. I've heard the title. I believe, but
it's a BMX movie, but they're cutting through backyards and neighbors are coming out and yelling at him and waving and throughout the beginning sequence.
Oh,
So
I thought you meant the toys, the opening credits.
No.
The kid running that's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That was the other one. I thought
yeah.
that it was, but I was just wondering if there was a little bit of Rad influence there too. But
and a little bit of Burbs too. The Burbs, there's the guy washing his car, and instead of Tom Hanks throwing his coffee, the guy sprays the water hose, and we even shot. It didn't make it into the movie. We even shot a shot where the main character's running up, and there are girls in bathing suits laying out. He kind of stops and like plays it cool for a second, like Ferris did. It didn't make it though. It didn't turn out the way I wanted, but yeah, definitely that was a reference. But I'll have to check out Rad.
Well, the references that are in there throughout are very artfully done, and it's clear that you had a love for that time period as the way you worked them in, and it wasn't just shameless borrowing. It was very artfully worked in as an homage. So it was enjoyable to watch it and be able to pick out the references throughout. You mentioned a fan film you worked on. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. On the Masters of the Universe?
Yeah. So yeah, back in 2013, I was at a He-Man convention called PowerCon in Torrance, California, and it was the second year I'd gone, and I've always been a huge Masters of the Universe like obsessed person, and I was there, and you get to meet, just like at Scarefest, you get to meet a lot of celebrities, and they're voice actors from the He-Man cartoon, and a lot of writers and of the cartoon and the movie, and there was a lot of cosplayers there, and there was a guy named John Faust that was there, and he had made a He-Man fan film. And so like meeting all these people, I was like, I want to do that. Like I want to make a He-Man movie, and it just happened. Like I met all these I met people that made costumes and loved He-Man so much, and like I had like a whole like community of like people helping me put this together, and it was probably one of the coolest experiences ever. I mean, they're in a lot of ways cooler than the Bloody Man has turned out, but I mean, it's totally different in my opinion. But no, it was so fun. I would love to go back and I love to remake it, because I've become a better editor now, and I would definitely not want to do a 99% green screen movie again. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to toss it over to Katie and let her take it from here.
I have a very exciting question. What's your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got my nobody can see it, but I've got my favorite films up here, mini posters. I would think my favorite horror movie is Nightmare 4. I know that I'm supposed to say like some like artsy like Italian horror film or something from the 70s, or no, just Nightmare 4. It's my favorite to watch. So there's no shame there.
I know, I feel you. Like I actually my sister was a horror movie fan when I was growing up, and I was scared of them, but she got me to watch Nightmare, and I've rewatched them as an adult, and 3 and 4 were definitely my favorites. They're just the best ones, I think. Did you get to meet Robert Englund last year?
I didn't really get to meet anybody at Scarefest last year, but I've been to so many conventions and Scarefest prior. I have met him at another convention prior, and I was there to try and like make a little bit of money and not lose money. So I didn't see him, but I mean I saw him at a distance.
Yeah,
Um,
the first year I volunteered, he walked by me in the hallway. I was working panels, and he walked by, and that I don't get really bad starstruck except with Robert England. That one I actually was like, that's Freddie, but so, like I said, I just watched the movie for the first time this week. For the other viewers that are watching our show tonight, what do you hope audiences get from the Bloody Man?
um, the main thing that I want somebody to experience when they watch it is I want them to be, um, and it's going to be more for this feeling is more for people of my age. I want them to be transported back to the 80s, and like I want them to feel like they're watching something as a kid, or watching something like on TV late at night, or going to the video store and renting a VHS of some movie just based on the VHS cover, and just feel like it. Uh, like um, like I said before, I don't necessarily, I didn't want to really want to make a movie. You can make a movie that looks 80s, and we tried that, but like ultimately the main goal was to like, what does this feel like? What kind of tone? And I hope that people get that when they watch it, and they have a little bit of an escape from modern day and all the craziness that's going on, and all the stress of life and stuff. I hope that it takes them for 2 hours like back to their youth, and makes them happy and have a happy ending.
Yeah,
Fun. I want them to have fun. Yeah.
like I'm a '90s kid. It's time for people to make '90s movies now because I'm
Yeah.
there. So, but I watched it, and it, viewers, if you're watching tonight, it gives this great family like vibe in it. I don't know. It really was like, I don't know. Everybody redeemed themselves. I feel like. Did you grow up with siblings growing up? Like, did that influence you at all?
I did not. I'm an only child. I have a half brother, but we didn't grow up together. My wife, she had two brothers, so and she was the youngest. So her family dynamic was kind of like the dynamic in the film. Um, and so that really helped her. She was great at writing the dialogue with the kids and stuff. And yeah, and you mentioned they redeemed themselves. Yeah, I mean we tried to give every character, especially the main one, like a good arc. Um, that their arc is totally like what you know the Bloody Man, like it lives or dies on.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That one, like, that's what I took back from it. Is it just kind of gave me that like warm and not warm and fuzzy because they dealt with all the trauma. I did just get tickled at the end when the dad comes in and he's like, what is on the carpet?" So like, he was way nicer than my dad. My dad would say a lot more obscenities, but
We're about up to the time for review, so let's shoot it over to Joe Lewis and Bonehead Weekly for a weekly review.
Hey, Scarefest fans, it's Joe Lewis, Bonehead Weekly, with this week's review, and I'm not allowed to talk about Old Man Griffith, the soup, the pudding, all those things. I kind of need the Scarefest gig. I need the job. So, after several threatening texts, I've been told to move off of talking about, what he wears, and it rhymes with depends. Anyway, so I've been told to stop doing that. What I want to talk about is a movie called The Pale Blue Eye. It's on Netflix. I almost forgot what I was saying. It's on Netflix. It's not technically a horror film. This is it. It's about a detective, Augustus Landor, and he's invited to this. Basically, it is a school for Army kids, like a cadet. And he's there to solve some grisly murders with the help of a young cadet who will eventually go on to become the world famous Edgar Allan Poe. And that's kind of the gist of it. And stars Christian Bale as Augustus Landor, and a guy named Harry Melling, who I think just kills playing Edgar Allan Poe in this. Also has Gillian Anderson, Robert Duvall, Timothy Spall. It's got a fantastic cast, and it's written and directed by a guy named Scott Cooper. And Scott Cooper, in my estimation, has never made a bad movie. Now, he's made a couple that I thought were slightly too depressing to watch, but there's Out of the Furnace, Crazy Heart, who Jeff Bridges won an Oscar for playing that role in Crazy Heart. But this one comes on the heels of what I reviewed last year of a movie I really enjoyed that he made called Antlers, which is about a Wendigo. But it's also a wonderful murder mystery. It's based on a book by Louis Bayard that's about 20 years old, and I've never read the book. And basically, what we find out is Christian Bale's character's Augustus. Something happened to his daughter. We don't necessarily know all the details, but we find out as the movie goes on. And these people cannot figure out why these cadets are being murdered, and they need some help. And apparently, Augustus has a drinking problem. There's other issues as we find out that he's maybe not up to everything that he says he is. He also meets this young cadet who is Edgar Allan Poe. Now, this story never happened. Edgar Allan Poe did not help this fictional character at a military school find a murderer. But Edgar Allan Poe did go to a military school for a time. My friend James could talk a little bit more about this. It could happen. I don't mind historical fiction. I know some people just can't stand it, but I actually like kind of historical fiction, taking some of these characters and meshing them up. It's the same thing about Tarantino. Oh my God, he changed the ending of World War II. Oh my God, he changed the ending of the Manson family. And what happened with Sharon Tate? Yeah, because it's a movie. Here to entertain. The actual detective story was created by Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know if you all knew that or not. A lot of people, give it to Sherlock Holmes and Conan Doyle, but it wasn't. It's Murders in the Rue Morgue, and that was actually one of the first published detective stories. So it was fascinating that they not only knew that, but they took that and what could be. And anyway, if you're a literary geek, it's fascinating. So should you watch it? Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's not as good as Antlers or some of his other films. I'm giving it a lot of kindness. It's beautifully shot. The third act doesn't quite work for me for a couple of reasons, and there's a reveal at the end that I don't want to talk too much about. That's neat, but it's a little kind of tacked on. But should you watch it? Absolutely. It's on Netflix. It is beautifully shot. It's really well written, and its acting is fantastic. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie. So you should totally watch The Pale Blue Eye, and you should watch for Brandon and Old Man Griffith, and make sure he doesn't have any accidents. And if he does, just call security. Or Wes. I think Wes is used to cleaning up after him. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Daniel Benedict, director and writer of The Bloody Man. Daniel, tell us how people can find your movie.
Tubi was mentioned earlier, and that's a free platform. You can also rent or buy it digitally on Amazon Prime, and you can buy the Blu-ray special edition or the DVD. It's blurring it out or whatever on Walmart.com or Amazon.com. And and the Blu-ray is like it's got like a poster that comes with it, and it's got like a 1,000 special features. Every like YouTube video we did, they threw it on there. I was like, okay, cool. So, yeah.
You got any additional festivals coming up, or any places that you'll be showing or meeting fans?
Not currently, no. I'm Scarefest. We was it for a while. We sold like pretty much every DVD of everything we've ever done, like sold at Scarefest. So thanks for having us there. But no, it's taking a little break for a while.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, and I think I also saw on my Roku that you could get it on iTunes, but too. So I think it should be available there, maybe.
I think I saw it maybe the Roku channel and on iTunes and things like that too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I highly recommend guys taking a watch. I mean, it's I think our fiends are will really appreciate that and all the work that you put in on it. It's a great movie.
Thank you so much for saying that.
No
Do
problem.
you, do you have any websites, social media, anything where fans can keep up with what you're up to?
Yeah, so social, like Facebook and Instagram, it's just Red Serial Films, and of course, serial spelled like serial killer, or redserialfilms.com. See all the other stuff that we do.
I'm gonna like it right now because I want to watch more of your movies. So,
hey,
well, we've really enjoyed having you. Like I said, the movie was great. Anybody out there that hasn't watched it yet, go find it. It's available at multiple outlets right now, and you can get the DVDs online. But don't miss this one. It's a great taste of horror mixed with nostalgia, and it's really well shot, well written, and well acted. So don't miss this one.
I also think if you do have kids, I think like not little bitty kids, but like I feel like this one would be appropriate for like 10-year-olds that might be interested in horror movies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I think it's good
we
for the family.
yeah, we wanted to keep it pretty tame. So it's there's some gore and a couple mild obscenities, but that's about it.
Yeah, so I think this would be a great film for just anybody to watch. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you said you were taking a little break on it, but any new projects coming up or anything anybody needs to be looking out for?
Just follow us on Instagram. I'm always up to something. Like I said, I'm trying to get some things like going. It's just hard to find time and money and stuff. But I mean, there will be something. So
I'm going and liking you on Instagram too. So everybody else go do that right now.
Do it.
Do it. Keep up and go to the film festival. I hope you come back and show another movie. Show your next movie.
I hope so. Like Scarefest this last time was like one of the coolest like conventions like I've ever been to. Like it was like the staff was so nice. Like all the attendees were super nice. It was packed. There were so many cool like costumes and booths. Like I could have spent my entire life savings on like toys that I saw there and like in memorabilia. It was awesome. And like it was the film fest was cool. It was in that theater and it was just I don't know. Like I had a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, guys. Okay, I'm stalking your social media now. So it offers a lot of good behind the scenes, guys. So
I'll text you my social security number in a minute. So.
Yeah. Go ahead and do the credit card number too. With the pin on the back. So, but everybody, watch the movie. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Thank you.
We appreciate your being on tonight, Daniel. It was great talking to you. Great learning a little bit more about the movie. Everybody out there, remember to go to the fan page and vote in the poll as we're starting to get ready for next year's Scarefest, or this year's. I'm sorry, this year's. We've passed the beginning of the year now. Make sure you vote in that so we can make sure we bring you what you want. But with that, we'll say good night and thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks.
Thank you guys so much.